The Wellness Show, episode number 363.
Welcome to The Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyson Bannigan, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more. All right, we're live on Facebook, and this is Tyson Bannigan with Laura Gould. This is The Wellness Show on health, wealth, and enlightenment. And today we're going to talk about how to set your soul song free, how to soar, how to be one with all that is, how to let go of what no longer serves you, how to stand in your truth and deliver your awesome gifts to the world. So yeah, I was working on my vision today, and yesterday my vision was for the show, and for this is my vision is to help you learn how to heal yourself. And then I thought, yeah, that's true, but really we work with empaths and sensitives and help them. What do we help them do? Oh, well, we help them take back their power. So my vision is to help you take back your power, learn how to take back your power, and how to heal yourself. So there you are. We've expanded it a bit more, so it's a little bit more dialed in. Although I love anybody and everybody, if you're in your power and still need to know how to heal, I don't know. I think those two are so intimately connected, right? If you're in your personal power, you're going to heal, right?
Yep.
That's how I see it, right? So yeah. So if you're not healing, then I think the fundamental thing is you're not in your personal power. You're not in your body, and therefore you're not.
Why? Why are they not?
Oh, because they are, for whatever. I mean, there's many reasons why we're not in our body. For me, it's trauma. I've been working with a coach, and I help other people do this, and I'm surprised. I fell off a cliff. I'm still on the cliff. I had to go find that part of myself still in the trauma of falling off a cliff, for example. I was thrown to the floor and nearly killed. I was still on the floor in that fetal position. I had to go back and find the place where I was nearly killed. And that was my father, by the way. But anyway, I digress. But the point is, if we have a traumatic experience, our body gets locked down in that fear, entraps that emotion, and that fear inhibits our own personal and spiritual growth, because we're not totally in our body, because we disassociated it from our bodies in order to protect ourselves. So this is what soul journeying is all about, and bringing back fragments of yourself, and
yes,
the First Nations talk about this, and it's part of healing ceremonies, and what sweat lodges are all about, and even people doing plant medicine. This is all about. They're searching for those fragments to bring them home. So this is what really it's all about: is being at home in your body, taking back your personal power, reclaiming who you are, and all the different dimensions of where you may have lost parts of yourself. Now, this could be a near-death experience. It could be sexual or any other abuse, trauma. It could be an auto accident. It could be a core fracture or toxic motion from somebody in power who said something.
That's what I want to know about, is core fractures. Like I know about just about everything that you talk about, but core fractures always make me question, what is a core fracture?
All right. So if your vibrational frequency, like you are a vibrational frequency, right? So the sum total of your frequency is like this, right? And there's a medium point there, you're up and you're down, but the yin and yang creates this harmonic accord of who you be. We raise your energy level, and all that was below that energy level no longer has access to you, right? We talk about raising your level of consciousness. A core fracture is when that trauma is so intense that it breaks through that normalcy and inscribes in your DNA an event that's lower than your normal. So now, whenever that situation shows up in your life that's anything similar to that, it will run that program. It's like a warning command that we were talking about,
Okay.
or something like a warning command. It triggers a repetitive pattern that takes you into that depth, and there you have a memory loss, or you have a fear, or you catch yourself, right? And I used to have those ones in school, or I mean, even minor things like having a code to put in that comes on my phone, and it's 6 numbers, and I used to freak out. Oh, that's 6 number. I can't remember before the phone goes off. Now, because I've calmed down and realized that I have a trauma around that going all the way back to school, I can look at those 6 numbers, and those 6 numbers are in my brain, and I can type them out. But before that, I couldn't, because I had that trauma about trying to remember things and not feeling that I had the ability to do that. This is a minor example, so I was in my way. But this is a deep one where it's literally gone down below that normalcy level. Now, what I have to do, or a coach has to do, and I'm certified to do this, I took training to do that, is I have to go down and resonate at that frequency, at a higher frequency that matches it. So the two, through that entrainment, collapse it into normalcy.
Makes perfect sense now. So I had a client this morning that had a miscarriage, and she was having past trauma from her past, just like shame and guilt, right?
Right.
So she was thinking, what did I do to create this? Like, right. And that's exactly, when you were saying it, I'm like, oh, I told her, I said, no, this vibration just matches this vibration of shame and guilt, match shame and guilt. And it's coming together, and you're putting the two together as though you've done something bad in your past, therefore God is like punishing you for that. But really, it's just the two vibrations coming together and matching shame and shame, guilt and guilt, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great way of describing it. I put in on my Facebook page that 2 of my heroes, one was Rife and one was Tesla. And one person said, well, I don't even know who they are or what they did. Well, Rife invented a microscope in which he could see viruses, right? Or other germs. I don't know if you know about the germ, but let's say the bad bugs, for lack of better words, for technical terms. And he realized that they vibrated, everything in the universe vibrates at a frequency. And just like when the opera singer sings a note that resonates at the frequency of the glass shatters. The two cannot coexist. The negative and positive of the same wave frequency will collapse it, okay? It will literally collapse. Yeah, yep. It'll break the glass. So when you do that with a germ, or you do that with a baddie in your body, yep, that frequency collapses that germ, and it literally dies. It ceases to exist, okay? So yep, it's, as above, below. So it's the same on every single vibrational frequency. That's why when we live in a polarity world, why we're being asked to hold the light in the dark as in a balance. It's not the light dominating the dark. It's not the light conquering the dark. It's understanding that the light and the dark will always be there, or we won't have night and day, to get out of the judgment, so that when that middle point, right, between that energy, otherwise that's an endless, loop, right? It's the infinity sign. We're trapped in infinity, but in the center of that is where it all comes together, where it collapses the wave, right? Because an infinity sign is just a wave, okay? That's the wave, top wave. This is the bottom wave. When you put those two waves together, they collapse into 0 point, and then they're in no time, no space, nothing to do with this dimension. You're in your heart, and you're one with Source. So above and below, this is what we mean when we do the work that we're doing by taking back your personal power. You're bringing that duality to 0 point,
right? Through
non-judgment.
So my experience with that is my dog Spirit kept getting ticks. Yeah. All last week. I pulled 3 off of him. Then I went outside, I talked to the ticks, and I said, you need to leave. The vibration here is too high. And if not, then I'm going to lay down some stuff that earth stuff, the clay.
Yeah.
So I warned him first and said, you got to go. Then I took my dog and I asked that his vibration come up and above ticks, so that even if we're out anywhere, that the ticks won't vibrate at the same level he is. So he's vibrating up here, so they don't match vibration.
Right.
So now he hasn't had any ticks.
Yeah, and that's, if you have a look at a little bug, right? It has these antennae on top of its head, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those antennae are zeroed in on the particular plant that has in a crisis, right?
Mm-hmm.
My job is to take that plant off of the earth. My job is to recycle that plant. So if that plant frequency is below normal, my job as a bug is to tune into that frequency and take it out. Whereas a bumblebee is in tune to finding a flower. So we all have our job about what frequency we're tuned into. That's how we're fed. Now imagine, it says in the Bible that there's manna. What does that mean?
Oh, manna.
Yeah.
Yep.
It means it's food, does it not?
Yeah.
So doesn't that mean that at the right vibrational frequency, what does that mean?
Means that what I take in will match my frequency and help me to survive.
Yeah, that means that all of your nourishment of your body will be granted unto you when you're at the right vibrational frequency,
mm-hmm.
which is what it means to be a light eater, or to be living on light, pure divine light, not eating any food. Why? Because you're at the same frequency, and it's been said in the Bible that will be granted unto you. So again, it's all frequency.
And it's all in your own truth, which is what we talked about yesterday. My truth is that if I talk to the ticks and I talk to God to raise my dog's vibration away from the ticks, that will happen, because that's my belief system.
Yeah, and even if you didn't believe it and you did it, it would work.
Okay.
I mean, it's great that you know that you're working with divine forces, but even, that this is the difficulty, is that even if you're satanic and did the reverse to that on the negative side, it would work. This is a scary part.
But remember that this is my point, is that some of our clients are stuck in a story and they don't trust themselves and they don't trust God. And right. Remember, we talked about that yesterday. So there has to be some kind of trust there in order for it to come up and over. Maybe Absolutely. If you don't know it'll work, then like ignorance is bliss, which is good. Maybe that's what you're talking about. More.
No, I'm saying that whether you trust God or not, if you know about frequency, it will work. This is the way. The universe is all frequency. And as I said before, the dominant frequency always wins. Now, people have misinterpreted that and say, well, Tyhson says that you can be the dominant frequency and lord it over. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the dominant frequency, good, bad, or ugly, always wins the day. There's no judgment in this universe. It's either a positive or a negative. A positive and negative in electricity doesn't mean positive is good and negative is bad. It just means it takes a positive and negative electron to balance each other out. That's all it means. But when we want to put judgment on it, we're getting ourselves all entangled in a morality that doesn't exist. Now, there is laws, the universal law, one which is do no harm, but what I'm trying to say is frequency. So if you're satanic and using a frequency of control, and it's higher than the frequency of repelling that of the human being or the group action, say it's a coven of satanic beings, and they're vibrating at a frequency of control. If you don't match that frequency, you're under their control. So it doesn't matter whether what I'm trying to say is that it has nothing to do with God at that point, right? It has just frequency to frequency, good, bad, or ugly. Does it help to understand that you're one with source, and does that give you increased energy flowing through? Of course it does, right?
There we go.
Yeah, of course it does. And if you do align with source or God consciousness, you will, and I hate to say the word win the day, but you'll be the dominant energy for good. Now, winning the day could mean that you have compassion for those in the dark and those in the light, and the struggle and the war that's going on the earth and in the heavens and all the rest of that. But as a compassionate Buddhistic or Taoist or whatever you want to say, a point of view, you can hold that in your consciousness and love it all for what it is, with no desire to judge it or change it, that everything is as it should be, and you're all right with that. And then you holding that, you're holding an imbalance, and everything can start to transform, not only into your life, but everybody else's lives around you. Now, if you get 3 people to do that, it's really, really, really powerful, because now you have a geometrical progression. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1, and it says where 2 or more are gathered, there am I. Now we have the Christed energy in there, and now we're into a geometrical progression, right? So it expands really, really fast. So that's why people say, when we do the bringing light onto the planet, it doesn't take the whole planet to wake up, right? It only takes a small group to wake up, because geometrically, the progression of the light will expand exponentially, right? And so the dominant frequency, good, bad, or ugly, always is what shows up. Which is pretty neat when you think about it. Who invented this universe? You can play on any side of the fence you want, and you get to learn about frequency. This is really like a frequency pinball machine, or a frequency, what do you call it? Warcraft, or one of those, what am I trying to say? One of those video games. It's it's a energetic video game.
Okay, now you've kind of lost me even.
Let's
roll it in a little bit and just explain in a little bit more of a layman's term.
Okay, well, let me just say, an energetic video game is that you create the world with every thought, word, deed, and action. That's energy. And what you think creates the world you live in. So you're manufacturing your own video game, whether you like it or not. Okay, collectively, we're doing it the same thing. We are already in an IT world. We didn't know it. We have the power to create the world around us. We are gods in potentia. We're not very good at the game, but we're learning, right?
We're learning.
Created a huge mess, right? Like birds don't poo in their nests. We do. So we got a long way to go to understand what we think and the ramifications of what we do, right? We still think of ourselves as holier than Mother Nature, right? That we can do whatever we need to her to have, have resources and all the rest of that, right? When in actual fact,
right. But let's go back to the energy, like
that's all energy.
Music vibrates, colors vibrate, we vibrate.
Yeah, everything vibrates. A rock vibrates.
Right. And whatever vibration you're at, it's going to match that same vibration.
That's right.
So,
Everything.
So if you're in shame and guilt, you're going to vibrate
down
and
there.
have shame and guilt come into your life.
Yeah.
And other people who are in shame and guilt will come. That's why birds of a feather flock together.
Absolutely.
Right.
And
so
it's not as though that those that are coming to you and saying, hey, I'm going to shame you, they're not really doing that because they're malicious.
No.
They're actually there because they're pointing out, hey, in you, there's something that needs to be healed. And they're going like this, bang, 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 bang. And you say, oh, this is an inner thing I need to deal with. And then now you have a boundary there. There's nothing for it to match. There's no match, right? It just like comes off of that, right? Or like this. Okay, but
that's why sometimes we meet people. Sometimes we meet people. Have you ever met someone and you're just like, oh, no. No.
Yeah, and you meet other people and you're soulmates and you haven't even said a word.
Right, exactly. So it's like oil and water or oil and oil. You're going to attract to you. So if you keep having money issues in your life and your car keeps breaking down and you gotta you go from job to job to job to job to job to job and it's and you keep going. Life is so hard and it's so difficult. I can't get ahead and all my friends they keep taking me out to the bars and drinking and you see you have all of your friends have those same problems, right? And then And then, or like Tyson and I, we have very similar likes and dislikes and issues that we're going through, and we match our vibration, and our lives are very, very much in sync. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the point is that all of us, at least I can speak for myself, I always have a coach, right? I always have a coach to up level. So, I'm working with people on the wellness show and in the wellness academy, helping them learn how to do this. But I always have a coach to take me to the next level, right?
Yeah. And that's what people don't understand too. I have 5 different people that I work with every month that I go to and that I exchange money to. So the money that that's coming in from like all of my coaching and my classes and my clients, that all goes out to other people to keep me going too.
Absolutely. So
I'm doing this just as much as you are.
Yeah, so I have one coach, Dr. Fitness USA, for the physical, because I need to keep my physical body in online, because if I have scar tissue and misalignment in my body, I can't run these high energies. It really, really hurts physically. So I have to re-entrain my neuromuscular system to handle these new vibrational frequencies that I'm working with, okay? Otherwise it hurts. So physically I have to do something. I want to be able to get into my true nature and dwell there. I want to be in my heart 24/7, 365. I want to have a life full of ease and grace and bliss. Why wouldn't I want to? So I have a coach that helps me learn how to get out of my way. So all that core fractures, toxic emotion, unresolved conflict, body fragmented everywhere. We're still working on that, right? It's like layers of an onion. You think you're done? No, there's another level that you can work through. And how do you know that there's more work to do here while you're still on planet Earth? The mere fact that you're still here.
And it's in your heart. You bump up against it every day.
Yeah, and you haven't graduated. You graduated when you get off this planet. And so if you're still here, you're doing this work, okay? So that's the second coach.
That's also an old thought process. As we move into a different dimension, that may change.
Well, it may change, and you may graduate into another, but it doesn't matter whether you're on this dimension or any other dimension, you're never done.
Yeah, thank you. I 100% agree with you.
You're never done.
Right.
And why would you want to be done? It's a never, ever expanding universe, right? Yeah. Well, you can go this way and do it over and over again and again and again, or you can be in the center, right? And then have access to all of it, right? Which is just pure bliss. And at that point, when my coach gets there, she'll say, okay, now that you're there, is there anything you need to do? No. Is there any need for a legacy? No. Is there anything that's left undone? No. Is there anywhere that you need to go? No. Is there anything you need to strive on? No. Is there anything else that needs to get done? No. I mean, because you're in the zone where everything is manifest and granted unto you, which is what we talked about, mana, right? We talked about that you would receive mana, that you will be fed. You will be fed by source or God, right?
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Yeah. Why don't we have any questions this morning? We must just be keeping everybody in constant like focus on us this morning. No questions are coming in.
Maybe we're scaring people half to death. I don't know.
Oh, I don't think so. Oz says, I love the frequency talk.
Yeah.
It is new information. It isn't completely new to us, but to a lot of people, understanding that we're all frequency, like a song. Like I love classical music. I'm not a big fan of rap and loud headbanger kind of music. It kind of makes me uneasy, but classical music brings harmony to my soul. And that's changed, because when I was in high school and I was very angsty and angry, I loved AC/DC and Metallica and Guns N' Roses, and that matched my frequency of anger and angst, right? But now classical music more resonates with my soul and with myself. So that's what we're talking about with frequency as well. Those things that match you will come to you with relative ease. If I turn on a rock and roll station and I'm all peaceful and calm, all of a sudden I start feeling really agitated and right, switch the channel, and then I start feeling more in harmony again.
Always, you got the right to change the channel. It's
Right.
your radio station. You're broadcasting 24/7, 365. What channel are you choosing? Don't like the channel? Change it. Turn up the dial.
Right. So Eduardo says, good stuff. Keep it going. The topic ties into Power versus Force by David Hawkins.
Absolutely.
Vibrational levels.
Absolutely. Power versus Force. Here you go. All right.
Look at that. Is there any book that you don't have that you don't grab from your library? Or do you just manifest them into your being?
Yeah, this is a brand new book manifested. I have the ability of Sai Baba. He manifests jewel. I only manifest books, right?
Yeah.
I'm working on the jewel part, but I don't have it down yet. Yeah, this is Power versus Force. And again, this is all vibrational frequency. And are you doing, and I don't know if I would use Power versus Force as the way of describing it. I would say, are you using your energy or the energy around you for, let me see if I can get, for liberation and helping people become sovereign human beings, or using that energy to dominate and control people? That's what this means, right?
Right.
So the power, the force here, here is control over people, right?
Gotcha.
And over here, its power is helping people become sovereign human beings. Okay. So that's the choice that you have. Which side of the fence do you want to play on? How do you want to use the energy, and what energy are you attracting? I had a client this morning who's working with a very high level energetic manifester in the world, and she feels that she is not that she is really sad because she can't attune to him because he wants her to work with her. And then when I look at the situation, he's 75% out of his integrity. I mean, he's a very powerful dude doing incredible things, but he's not in his heart. And she's judging herself because on her intuitive, psychic, spiritual level, she can't match it. Okay, but she's judging herself that she's inadequate, and he's judging her that, oh, well, you can't.
But what it really is that she has all this light, and he needs it to continue his
he's the vampire. He's the vampire. The only way he can succeed.
It happened to me so often. I totally understand this. You get with people who want power and greed, and here you have all of this light, and they attach to you, and it gives them more power. That's right. Yeah.
And you could say, oh, ain't that horrible, which I used to do when I did the deep clearing, but it ain't horrible. Look, do that again. Use the hand. I like that. Okay, so what's going on there is that person is coming to you to show you that you're wounded, and that part of you that needs to be healed inside of yourself and become a sovereign human being. So they are actually your biggest teacher, even though you don't like them, and even though they're the vampire, and even though they have, and it may be very cruel, and it may be very painful, and you may be very sick, and it may be violence, and it may be possession. All those things are possible. Mm-hmm. But remember, the war is not with the person who's bringing this to you. That's the gift of saying, go inward, What
did you say to me when I first met you and I said, I'm so afraid of this? And you said, Laura, you have to thank that fear because of why? Because it's helped you understand that you don't want to be there anymore. So thank it. Thank the fear for being there, but I don't need you anymore. You can go away now. That was life-changing. That's the same thing when somebody comes up to you and they're dominating you and you don't like how it feels. Don't get angry and mad and scream and yell, right? Thank them for the lessons that they've taught you, right? And let them go. Yeah. So there you are in your sovereignty, right? And then that other person that's in sovereignty and matches your light will come towards you.
Absolutely. So I mean, God bless her that on the level of her soul that there wasn't a match, right? Because she would have had the life sucked out of her. And I'm trying to say, no. I mean, I'm telling you the truth. Oh, but he wouldn't even work with you because he's all powerful. I'm not saying that he isn't all powerful. I'm just telling you that he's a vampire. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not telling you he's not smart, but I'm telling you there's voodoo and all sorts of strange stuff that's involved in this. You don't want to go there. And you should thank yourself for having chutzpah, or the wherewithal to know that this was not for you to do, because you would have been eaten alive. So let's get you back in your power, in the truth of who you be. And then, like Laura said, you'll be in a match for that soulmate. This was a false soulmate, right? Don't get trapped in the illusion of your ego. Oh, I have a soulmate.
When you meet your soulmate, you don't, the one soulmate doesn't say, well, you have a lot to learn. I'm better than you. I've got more than you do, right?
Oh.
They come together and they match.
That's right. That's right.
They match and they make you want to be a better person.
Right. Well, they don't even want you to do anything. They just want to just be with you. That's all.
Right. But my point being is that I would look at that. You look at that other person, you're like, you're so amazing. And so everything that you do, I don't want to change anything. I want to be like that, because we can always find imperfections in ourselves, right? And they're like, well, I can find imperfections of myself. But when you look at each other, you're like, no, you're perfect. Right. Therefore, I'm always wanting to drive to want to be better, do better, love more, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. And being better. Yeah.
So the lights should go on for you. The red light should start flashing, beep, 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 when somebody says, oh, well, I'd like to be your lover, or I'd like to be your soulmate, but you're just not on the same level as I am. That should be a red flag, right? That should go beep, 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 beep. That's you backing up, getting out of there.
Beep, beep. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Right. Oz says we can also talk about the map of consciousness from Dr. Hawkins. He wrote it at the same time. And she also says letting go is one of the major life lessons in life. There's always a gift in every adversity, as hard as it sounds.
Yeah, absolutely. We did a letting go book club, and we could open that up again. We went through every chapter on that, but I'd like to do an advanced level to that, whereas next time through, we don't go just through each chapter, but we come with actually giving you strategies of how to go up to the next level. Okay, so not just learning about it, but actually putting it into practice.
Yeah.
And I was hoping I could magically pull out the chart. In this book, I don't have it marked. In his other book, which happens to be wherever it is, I do have it marked, which is a chart. And when I first saw that chart, I was a bit upset with that chart. I have to be honest with you. I thought, who is this guy where I can douse and see whether this person is at this level? What an egotistical thing. So I missed the whole point of where am I in this chart, or where is somebody in this chart, and how can I help them learn how to raise their consciousness so they go to the next level in the chart. So I can't find it right now, but basically the chart is the lowest is that you have no self-regard or respect for yourself, right? And then the highest one is enlightenment, right? Where you're one with all that is and everything, and you are one.
And you can douse for this to see where you're at?
Yeah, the whole thing is you can douse this, right? And the beauty of this, in working with Ian Lengold, who has passed on the other side, he brought the Mayan calendar in 2012 to non-Mayan people through the Yucatan shaman, Mayan shaman. And Ian said, the beauty of this is once you actually know that you are at a certain level of vibrational frequency, that you get it, that you're there, you're no longer there. It jumps you. So knowing where you are and where you're vibrating automatically bumps you to the next level. It's that when you don't know who you be and where you are, that you have no connection to it whatsoever. And therefore you're running on automatic pilot, running endless loops of behavior that comes from your childhood or comes from past life or whatever. So we want to get you off automatic pilot. We want you to get back in the driver's seat and understand that when you make a choice between power and force, which is, do you want to play on the light or in the dark, or do you want to learn how to balance the two? What's your choice? And do you want to climb the ladder, which is Jacob's ladder, right, in the Bible, to enlightenment? Then one come and play with us. We'll help you climb the ladder together. Because there's nobody at the top saying, hey, you're not there yet. No, I mean, if you do that, you're going to crash down. Sort of
more like this. Hey, come on up here.
Yeah. Have you ever played snakes and ladders when you were a kid, right? Okay. You think you're up the ladder and you think you're pretty darn good, and then you find the snake, or it's not fair to the snakes because they're using the snakes, but then you slide down the back of the snake. You have to do it all over again. That's sort of like the ego getting in the way.
When I was going through all of this, when I first was told that I was fourth generation healer, I wanted my family's approval so much, like unbelievably amount, and all they just fought up against it. And after my father died, I helped my mom on Christmas morning and just ease her soul. And she came out of the bedroom and she said to the whole family, your sister really is a healer. She is like amazing. And at that point, I thought to myself, this is what I've wanted the entire time that I've been doing this, right? Like been trying to explain to them, look, I have all these gifts. And I was like dancing in front of them. Look at me, look at me, look at me. And I stopped doing that. And I started to love myself and know who I was. And when she gave it to me, I thought, oh, this is what they meant. I don't need this. Right. I love you, Mom. I'm so appreciate your gratitude towards the healing, but I don't need it anymore. And that was so freeing for me on so many different levels. And I felt her love and her compassion and her understanding of me. And for the first time ever, I didn't need it.
Yeah, and needing anything is very, very detrimental.
Yeah, in that aspect, yeah.
So I found the book. So here it is, Letting Go. Okay, so this is what we use from the pathway of surrender. I manifested this book, even with all the tabs in it. I manifested it, right?
I know.
So we did a book club on this, very, very powerful. We did one chapter every week, and I'd like to do it again if you're interested. And I want to give you the techniques of how to climb the ladder. So here's the ladder on the map of consciousness here. Okay, so on the very, very bottom here is when you're in the level of shame. Okay, and when you're ashamed and you're humiliated, you have zero power whatsoever, right? You're miserable.
Okay.
And the next one up is when you have guilt, and that's evil. That's when you feel vindictive, right? Because that's horrible. Sure. And you're going to blame everybody, and you're going to be destructive to yourself and everybody else, right?
Sure.
The next one is apathy, where you feel hopeless and you're condemning everybody else, right? Mm-hmm. You feel despair, and you're going to abdicate. You're all of you who you are. The next level is grief, and now you feel disdainful. And and you feel regret and despondent. Anyway, you climb this ladder. At the middle point here, so all of this down here, is you're losing energy, okay? And the whole force of the universe and Mother Nature wants to recycle you. Hey, this is energy that needs to be recycled, reincarnated. It needs to go through the compost pile, right? It needs to rot and be recycled. So all the forces of disease and disorder are going to want to take you off the planet. The boundary between the two is courage. At courage, you start to turn the corner, right? Here now you're starting to you're allowing yourself that it's feasible to this, and you're having affirmations, and now you're starting to feel empowered. Now you're gaining energy, okay? At this point, possession, intrusion into your energy field, it's virtually impossible, right? Because now you're standing in your courage, And you're being able to then get to neutrality, which is next. Now you can release everything. You have no detachment to it. You can release it, right?
Sure.
And now you're enabling because you trust the universe, you trust God, or you trust that you're in the right place at the right time.
Okay.
The next level is hopeful. You have your willingness. Okay, now you have optimism and you have an intention. So now you're doing the deep clearing protocol because you're manifesting through your intention what you want to show up in your life.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the next level is that you're merciful, right, with yourself. You're harmonious with your life. You're now accepting of everybody, and now you could forgive yourself and everybody else, and now you're transcending. Okay. The next one up is now you have some wisdom, and now your life has meaning, and now you can reason through things, right? And now you have understanding, and now you can even see the abstraction of the difference between the light and the dark, right? You're not caught into one or the other. The next one on is that you are now benign because you're a loving, compassionate human being. You have reverence for life, and now revelation, God is now speaking to you, or spirit is now coming through you. You're now receiving crystal clear guidance. And the next level up is you have pure, unadulterated joy. Okay? This is what I'm going for. If you feel complete, you're beginning to feel one with all that is. You're having serenity in your life, and transfiguration is happening, and you're becoming a light being. Your whole body is being transformed into a being of light, okay? The next level up is peace. You're at peace with yourself. You're connected in all being. Your life feels perfect. You're in pure, unadulterated bliss, and you feel illuminated, right? And the last stage is enlightenment. You feel ineffable, and you're in pure consciousness, and you're one with all that is, right? You're in your true nature, you're in yourself. You've made it home. The irony is we're already there. We're already the Buddha. The only reason we aren't there in any moment is because we're in our own way.
Now, can you go in and out of these things?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I'm like, oh, sometimes I'm here, sometimes I'm there, sometimes I'm
yeah, I mean, am I in
there.
bliss? Maybe I can have the bliss for 30 seconds or maybe half a minute. Well, I certainly haven't got it all day. I'm working on that one. So yeah, of course,
So what happened? Can I ask you this though? So when my dad died, I went into grief.
Yeah.
Does because you said, oh, that's on the lower level. So, but I also felt so much like wisdom and understanding about it as well.
Well,
so,
you're the sum total of all your feelings, right? Of all those vibrations, right? But a grief can take you down, and how you reconsider certain things in your life that you needed to do at a deeper level.
Right? Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, like I said, there's like layers of onions, right? You know, it feels like you're done, but no, there's another level and another level.
So it's not A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like you go on this line. It's not linear. It's more.
It's more like snakes and ladders.
Gotcha.
Right.
That's a really good way of putting it. Thank you. So
anybody understand the snakes and ladders game?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I played it a lot with my
but I don't know whether kids still play it, right?
Oh, sure they do.
Okay.
Snakes and ladder. I mean, is it snakes and ladders?
That's what I called it. You climb the ladder, you get to another level, and you're going along, and you're rolling the dice, and you're moving the ship along, and you hit the snake and go down 3 or 4 levels, and you say, oh, and then you have to climb all the way back up to the ladder, right?
Chutes and ladders. Thank you, Eduardo.
What is it?
Chutes and ladders.
No, it's snakes and ladders. No, I don't know what it's called.
I think yes, it was chutes and ladders, because I'm like, that doesn't snakes in it, because I don't remember snakes in it. But
mine has snakes on it.
Which is like, shooting here.
Yeah, I like the slide idea because I don't think it's fair to snakes. Because I actually think snakes could be the ladder. Because if you think of your kundalini, you're climbing. The kundalini is climbing up. So let's take the snakes out of it. I mean, I don't think it's fair to the snakes. The snakes are going up like this. They're not going down like this. Right. So thank you, Eduardo. We don't want to call it snakes and ladders. We want to call it ladders.
Shoots and ladders, like you should get shot into a different place. Yeah.
Well, okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, snakes.
It's okay. I was like, that does not sound right, but it's close. Yeah. You know what my sister said, because I listen to our show all the time and I re-listen to it. And I notice like you say words incorrectly because you go too fast, and I do the same thing. And I didn't realize that how much I did it until I started listening to it, because all my friends and sisters and family would say, "Oh, we always know what you mean, but you don't say it correctly." And I was talking to my sister last night. I said, I listen to him sometimes and I'm like, that's not right. She's like, I do it with you all the time. I'm like, I know, we're so much alike. It cracks me up. So we apologize for it, but really it's our brain is like going so fast. We can't, like, our verbiage can't keep up with it.
And to be quite honest, my mom was a person who made up words, right? She didn't like the English language because it didn't carry what you want. She made up words. So, and they were always plays on words. So, and my dad used to do triple and entendre, where there's 3 meanings to the word. So I come from a family that words were always like playing tennis. They were always bounced around and reconfigured and misspelt, and and we played those games traveling in a car, right? So my mom would go past the sign and say, "And sanctuary very much," right? We just my mom was terrible.
My dad used to do it too. Yeah. I love it that we had the same childhood. That's awesome.
So it made my spelling got 0, right? I had to stay after school because I couldn't understand phonetics. What the hell's that all about?
That's why we need a Vardo, because he told us how to spell Akashic Records.
Yeah, exactly. We need somebody. Yeah. Right? I mean, I couldn't even do the alphabet.
He says, Laura, how do you spell that? I'm like, really? It's like the blind leading the blind.
Right. I have a friend who said, I was telling her how I can't still, if you ask me to look something up, I don't even know the alphabet. So I could, like, that's a trauma I have. It's an alphabetic trauma from school. And she was saying, well, she thought when she was a kid that LMNOP was 1 letter.
Yes. Yes, LMNOP.
LMNOP. Oh, that must be 1 letter, right?
And then X, Y, and Z. I always thought there was an and, and where's the and? The letter and.
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't a very smart kid. Right. I also thought that in
no, it's actually not. That's not true.
What's that?
You were a very smart kid who did fit into the academic way in which they want to dumb you down and put you in a mold. That's what was going on.
Well, my mind was greater than.
Yeah, it was greater than the sum parts that they were trying to teach you.
Yeah, I would blow my teachers away. I'd ask my pastor what amen meant. He didn't know what that was. My mom's like, why are you asking the pastor what amen means? And I said, because I want to know what it means. Don't you? You say it all the time. He didn't know what it meant.
Yeah, I would say, okay, how come Christ is still on the cross? Wasn't there a resurrection? I got kicked out of Sunday school when I was 14. I wasn't supposed to ask those questions.
We need to take him down. I love it. You thought like I did. Yeah, when we get in trouble.
Yeah,
I know.
All the time. So people would say, so what do you think about that, Tyson? And I'd tell them the truth, and that was the end of that job.
I lost so many jobs. Mom and Dad were like, you just got to be in business on your own.
Yeah,
like, you can't lie. I got to tell them the truth.
Exactly. Don't ask me if you don't want to know. Right?
I know. I got fired from so many jobs for that. Yeah. And they'd all be like, Laura, you can't just say everything that you want. And I'm like,
just fit in. What? I mean, what?
I can't.
So if you're out there, we want to, and you don't feel like you can fit in, and you don't get that other people can understand who you are. If you feel like somebody dropped you off on the planet and forgot to give you the manual for planet Earth, if you're still waiting for somebody to come and pick you up and take you home, then you just found your tribe, right? So you need to phone us, get hold of us so that we can help you feel comfortable. We want to give you the empath or the intuitive survival guide, right? Which is the book that I'm reading right now. So we want to make it easier for you to understand why you are not here to fit in. You never were here to fit in. You're here to change the world. You're a change agent, and we want to help you take back your personal power. You could never fit in. You're not here to fit in. And so that's what keeps you losing your energy and it's letting go. So when you let go, okay, it says here, letting go describes a simple and effective means by which to let go of the obstacles to enlightenment and become free of negativity, right? Obstacles to enlightenment.
Yeah.
Because we're already enlightened.
How many people here can completely attest to what it is that we're saying? Eliza says he can relate to this. Crystal, I know you can, and you said it was funny. And Oz, you smiled, but I know y'all went through similar stuff that we did.
That's why you're on the show.
Eduardo says yes. Come on, guys, admit it. Open up.
Get over it.
Yeah.
And get on with it.
You finally have your tribe where you can be open and honest with us. And my best friend would say, oh, if you just get to know Laura, if you just get to know her, you'll understand her better. You just don't know her.
And their friends would say, no, don't go anywhere near Laura. She'll tell you the truth and bite your head off.
And I just thought everyone loved me and I was normal.
That's right. And yeah, I mean, I used to do that with a girlfriend. It's just think, oh, did you know da 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 da? And she would freak right out, you know, because she wasn't ready for me to say what I was saying, and I was just trying to be polite.
I know. I told one of my boyfriends that he had been hurt because he was in foster homes, and I said to him what happened to him, and he said, "How do you know this? I haven't told anyone this ever." And I said, "Well, it's just written all over your face. Like, how can you not, like, duh." And he was mortified. And now I look back and I was like, oh my God, I told him all this stuff that nobody had never shared with anybody. How did I know this? I always thought, like, how do people not know this?
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I used to be careful that I finally came to the conclusion that if anybody figured out what I actually thought, they'd lock me up. That was my biggest fear, right? Because
yes. My parents took me to a therapist, and that's
I went to a therapist.
Right. I thought I was going to be locked away forever.
Me too.
And I wouldn't talk to them. I wouldn't say a word. And they're like, "You're just spoiled rotten." And no, I was terrified. Right. I thought for sure they were going to find out that.
Yeah.
That I was like.
Yeah, and they were right. They maybe should have locked us up. But anyway.
Here we have some stuff though. Liza says my teacher didn't think I knew math when she asked me what 4 + 4. And I answered, well, 4 + 4 + 4 is 12. And she still believed I had a math block and sent me for evaluation. I understand what he's kind of saying now, though. That's like, wow, you did think that's, people would say to me all the time, I never thought about it that way, but yeah, I guess you could think of it that way. Yes. Right?
Yeah. Well, you're not allowed to think in school. That's the first mistake. Do not think in school. Be a parent. Be the best parent on the planet. What you hear, you feed back. You know original thought.
Be a parent. Be a parent.
Yeah. All he wants a cracker.
It's Darlene here, and I would like to bring up from the news last night that spousal abuse is up 30%. Yes. Why are the governments stepping up to open more safe places for these people and their children to go to? Example, Army barricades, housing, they would have great protection as well. I'm going to start a fundraiser for these people.
I love that. Yeah, 30% increase in domestic violence and all of those sorts of crimes against humanity have increased as people freak out because they can't escape from their own trauma because they're locked in their house. The positive thing about this, certainly for the seniors, is that there's so much understanding of how poorly senior citizens' homes are run and how low the wages are, that there'll be, I think it's safe to say probably a worldwide reset on how we manage senior citizens. So that's good. But it would be great if we could do the same thing in all other parts of society. And domestic abuse is one of them, right? And suicide is the other one.
Yes.
All that is like 30% increase right across the board. So how are we going to deal with suicide in a more compassionate, loving way? How are we going to deal with domestic abuse in a way in which we can keep these children safe?
safe, right?
So that's on one side of the fence. On the other side of the fence is if you're going to come into people's homes and arrest them because they're not being tested for COVID-19 or whatever, then we're really going on the other side of the fence where we are doing ridiculous things.
Actually.
And I know I'm not supposed to, people don't want me to be political here, but if you're a sovereign human being, then you want to live in a sovereign planet. So that's where we're going, people. If you can be a sovereign human being, you understand what a sovereign planet is, right? Where your sovereignty is respected, and anything that interferes with that, according to the law, one which is do no harm to you, your family, your loved ones, and your children, needs to be abided by. And if your society is not doing that, if your culture is not doing that, then there's a problem. Okay. This is a time of transnational, transpersonal, interdimensional major transformation where anything that isn't aligned with your true nature, isn't in harmony with Divine Mother and Mother Nature, will not succeed. In other words, if your social system isn't harmony with natural law, the law of the universe, the law of nature, it won't exist. Okay. Right. In other words, the time of fabricating an IT world which is detached from nature fundamentally won't work anymore. The vibrational energy on this planet is getting so high that I don't care who you are or how you're trying to control it. The vibrational frequency is such that any attempt to co-opt all this energy isn't going to work. Okay, and it may seem like it is working, and it may be very, very scary about your sovereign rights being under threat. But if you are truly work with us and become a sovereign human being, you'll be part of the vanguard that just standing in the truth of who you are, you will become untouchable and will have a new humane planet to live on where there will not be child abuse and where there will not be any of this craziness, right?
And if you act crazier than the crazy people, they'll leave you alone. That's what I've learned.
Right. Well, let's hear it for being crazy in the right way.
So Wisconsin went out of, we are no longer in lockdown as of last night.
Good,
okay.
Good. But the only person who ever locked you down was yourself. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah. Nobody can.
Now we're free. Free at last.
Yeah, free at last. Oh God, I'm free at last. Yeah. Who put you in jail?
People were dancing in the bars last night.
Yeah, no. Who put you in jail anyway? And who had the key to get yourself out? Anyway.
We are in controversy right now in our state. Some people want to stay at home and they want to stay in lockdown, and other people want to go back to work. And so there's this this happening right now of what do we do? What do we do? What do we do?
In the middle road is great because some people say, I really like to work at home. I don't want to go back to an office.
I worked at home for
and
like
some companies are saying, hey, people are at home and our productivity is going up. They're happier. So maybe we need to rearrange how we run a business. Anyway, we're at the top of the hour.
We are.
Thank everybody for showing up. We had no phone-ins. We had no conversation. You just let Laura and I blab away.
Yeah. It's the best day ever.
Come on, we have to let other people out a little kick of the can.
We did a little bit. I did say, let's see. Some of this, people are having conversations with themselves in here. That's really what's going on.
All right.
But just give us some love, people, and share this with all your friends. And we will be back tomorrow, Friday.
Oh yeah, it's Friday.
Same time, same place.
Oh, and don't forget Friday, we're going to be talking about clearing for your viruses and your flu shots, right? So if you had a virus or a flu shot, and a vaccine, then you need to come to this class and learn how to clear that. And
it's like 4th of July on here.
Sorry?
It's like 4th of July on here. Everyone's giving us love.
All right, I like love. I'll take all the love I can get so I can give it back to everybody else. All right. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. And don't forget to join us for how to clear your viruses and your flu. not only for yourself, but for your loved ones and for all of your clients. So why not come and join us? It's about an hour and a half we'll be spending together. That will be at 10 o'clock tomorrow from 10 to 11:30. Okay, it's $44 US, well worth your time. And if you can't afford it, well, that's okay. You can pick it up at the end of the month and get everything that we were talking about for $33 US. All right. Bye for now, everybody.
Give us love, everyone. Bye.
And share it to your network.
Share it. Bye, y'all.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.